In the sun-drenched streets of early 20th century Key West, Florida, a peculiar tale began to unfold, one that would intertwine innocence with the inexplicable, and eventually, infamy. At the heart of this narrative stood a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, affectionately known as Gene, and his enigmatic companion, a life-sized, sailor-suited doll named Robert. This doll, a gift from Gene's grandfather during a trip to Germany in 1904, was manufactured by the Steiff Company, renowned for their handcrafted toys. Standing 40 inches tall and stuffed with woodwill known as Excelsior, Robert was dressed in a sailor suit, likely an outfit that Gene himself wore as a child. The Steiff Company, founded in 1880 by Margaret Steiff, was famed for pioneering the teddy bear and producing finely crafted plush toys. Robert's unique size and custom sailor suit hinted at a bespoke creation, which may have been intended as a symbol of affection or prestige. Gene, an only child in a prominent Key West family, quickly developed a deep attachment to the doll, treating it less like a toy and more like a confidant or sibling. From the moment Robert entered the Otto household at 534 Eaton Street, an unusual bond formed between the boy and his doll. Gene would often be heard conversing with Robert, and, unsettlingly, responses in a different voice were reported. Neighbours and visitors recounted seeing the doll move independently, change expressions, and emit a sinister giggle. Gene's parents, initially dismissing these occurrences as childhood imagination, grew increasingly disturbed by the escalating incidents. Furniture overturned, objects misplaced, and Jeannie's insistence that Robert did it painted a chilling picture. Historical records and oral testimonies suggest that household staff also reported oddities, claiming to hear footsteps or whispers when no one else was present. Gene's behaviour began to reflect a duality. Sudden mood swings, blaming mishaps on the doll, and late-night outbursts were noted by family friends. These incidents grew so numerous that local gossip framed the Otto residence as a place of unsettling energy, well before the term haunted became widely applied. As Gene matured, his attachment to Robert persisted, much to the chagrin of his wife, Annette Parker. She urged Gene to confine the doll to the attic, hoping to quell the disturbances. However, the attic became a new stage for Robert's antics. Visitors reported hearing footsteps, muffled laughter, and the sensation of being watched. Children passing by claimed to see the doll peering from the attic window, its expression shifting as if alive. Some guests, including prominent figures visiting the Ottos, documented their experiences in journals or local newspapers, noting the eerie silence that blanketed the attic and the inexplicable coldness. A few visitors reported experiencing vertigo or a strange compulsion to leave the room quickly. Annette Parker, by several accounts, began sleeping in a separate room, citing unease she couldn't explain. Following Gene's death in 1974, the house changed hands. The new occupants discovered Robert tucked away in the attic. Their 10-year-old daughter was delighted with the find, but her joy was short-lived. She began experiencing nightmares, claiming that Robert moved around her room and even attempted to harm her. Disturbed by these events, the family donated the doll to the Fort East Martello Museum in 1994, where Robert resides to this day. The daughter, whose name has not been made public, reportedly became withdrawn and fearful, with one incident involving her screaming that Robert had tried to smother her in the night. The family reached out to local clergy, who allegedly refused to enter the home. This culminated in the doll being relinquished to the museum out of desperation and fear. At the museum, Robert is housed in a glass case, yet his legend continues to grow. Visitors report cameras malfunctioning in his presence, electronic devices failing, and an overwhelming sense of unease. Some claim to have seen Robert's expression change or to have heard a faint giggle emanating from his case. A tradition has emerged. Those wishing to photograph Robert must first ask his permission. Failure to do so, according to law, results in misfortune. The museum receives numerous apology letters from individuals who believe they have been cursed by the doll. Museum curators began cataloguing these experiences, compiling an archive of letters, audio recordings, and electronic correspondence from those claiming Robert's curse had followed them home. One such letter describes a newlywed couple whose honeymoon was marred by illness and accidents after mocking the doll. Others recount losing jobs, divorces, or sudden deaths of pets, each attributed, superstitiously, to their encounter with Robert. Theories about Robert's origins abound. Some suggest that the doll was given to Jean by a Bahamian servant skilled in voodoo, intending to curse the family. Others believe that Jean's intense emotional energy imbued the doll with a life of its own. Skeptics argue that the tales are mere folklore amplified over time by storytellers and the human penchant for the macabre. Investigations by researchers and journalists have uncovered no verifiable evidence supporting the voodoo theory. Although Key West's cultural proximity to Haitian and Bahamian communities may have fueled such speculation, psychologists suggest the doll might have served as a coping mechanism for Jean's isolation or mental health struggles, particularly as an only child under the pressures of a high society upbringing. Regardless of the truth, Robert the Doll has cemented his place in paranormal history. He has inspired horror films, books, and countless tales of terror. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the thin line between the animate and inanimate, and the power of belief in shaping our experiences. A 2015 independent documentary featured first-hand interviews with museum staff and former Key West residents, who provided a mix of reverence, fear, and dismissal of the doll's influence. The growing popularity of Robert's tale has drawn paranormal investigators and spiritual mediums, some of whom claim to detect an energy signatures in his presence, though these claims remain unsubstantiated. Summary of research findings. While the museum openly admits that many accounts are anecdotal and unverified, it continues to act as a guardian of the doll's legacy, promoting both its eerie reputation and its historical importance. In recent years, Robert has become the centerpiece of Halloween events and ghost tours, solidifying his position as both an artifact and attraction in the haunted heritage industry. The tale of Robert the Doll is a blend of documented history and folklore. While it's confirmed that the doll was owned by Robert Eugene Otto and now resides at the Fort East Martello Museum, many of the supernatural claims lack empirical evidence. Theories about the doll's origins, including voodoo curses and spiritual possession, remain speculative. Reports of paranormal activity associated with Robert are anecdotal and vary widely among individuals. The enduring fascination with Robert underscores the human tendency to find patterns and assign meaning, especially in the face of the unexplained.